Hello and welcome to Down the Vent. My name's Joe, and today we're looking at The Game from Pandasaurus.
Which game?
It's just called The Game.
Why would you a game in the game? What game are you talking about? I don't understand.
I know it's a strange name for a game, but it's just called The Game.
I want to learn BGG. I don't find it.
I know it's hard to find on Board Game Geek when you try to search for it. That doesn't matter. The game's called The Game, and that's what it's called, okay?
So it's just a game?
Okay, let's check it out, please. Can we do that?
Sure, alright.
Alright, thank you. The Game. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at how to play the game. You'll deal out in a two-player game, 7 cards to each player. You can play this single player and you'll get 8 cards. Or you can play this with 3, 5, 4, or 5 players, and then in that game you'll get 6 cards each. Then you will put the 2 100s and the 2 1 cards out to the side, and you'll all look at your cards and then decide who actually gets to go first. Whoever has the best kind of set of hand to go can go. On the 100s, you will always be playing lower numbered cards. So if there was like an 89 here, you couldn't play anything above an 89. It had to be lower. You're always descending on these piles. On the ones, you're always ascending. So if you had a 10, you couldn't play anything lower than a 10. You're always playing closer and closer to 100. That's kind of the most difficult part, besides one other rule to get. So everyone will look at their hands, and we'll say this person wants to go first because they think they got a good set of cards here. They have a 3, which is really good, so they'll play that there. But they have to play a second card. So on your turn, you always have to play a minimum of 2 cards. You don't have to play them on the same pile. You can play them on any pile you want, but you have to play another. So they don't really have anything else too close, and jumping 30, 40 points on one of these is not great. So they'll put an 81 here, and that's kind of a big jump still, but that's good enough to get them through at least that turn. So now they can go ahead and they draw back up to 7 cards again, and that ends their turn. It goes to the other player's turn. So I have a 6, so that's a good card to play. I'll play that. And now I can play the 11 as well, and that's not too far above the 6, but I actually have a special thing here that is super rare, but I want to try this here. So I'm actually going to play the 13, and then I'll play the 30 as well. And you might be thinking, why are you jumping so high? And the person across you might be like, why are you up to 30 already? We're in the second round of the game. But what you can do is play a 31, and then there's this 10 rule where you can jump backwards by 10s. So I have a 21, so I can play that there, and then I have an 11. So I played a bunch of cards to that pile, but it only went up a few numbers. It's still at an 11. And I got rid of a bunch of cards from here as well, which our goal is to try and get through this whole thing as much as we can to win the game. So now I'll draw back up to 7 cards here, and that'll be the end of my turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. So we're just going to keep going back and forth like this. We'll go ahead and play one other round here. And we actually have something similar we can do here on this person's turn. We have an 89, which is too high to play there. It's a big jump, but we're going to do it just to do it here, show you, to make sure everyone knows that you can do this both ways. So we'll play the 61 there, then we'll play the 57, which is lower. But because we have the 67, we can do that same thing where we jump back up 10, and if we had the 77, we could put it there if maybe this person has it. But that gets us past our 2-card limit. We're going to kind of hold off because we do know we have no 90s played yet. So we don't want to play the 80s again and kind of block it off. So we'll draw 3 more cards back up, and that'll be the end of their turn. Yeah, so that's pretty much how you play the game. You can, like I said, you can talk to each other, but you can't give away specific numbers like, oh, don't play here. I have a 66 and a 65. You can't say that. You can just be like, please don't play on this pile. I can really help us out there, something like that. And then they play there anyways, and you rage. There's also some other expert modes where you have to play like 3 cards instead of 2 per round, or you get less cards in your hand to choose from. So the game ends when either you're completely out of cards, or a person can't play the 2 cards on their turn. Like, it's just not possible because they don't have anything low enough or high enough to play on any of the piles. When that happens, you'll count up all the cards left. If you have 10 or less cards left between the draw pile and your hands, then you did excellent. If you played all the cards, then you beat the game. And yeah, that's the game. That is how you play the game. So let's go ahead, head up, and see what I think about it. Okay, so what do I think of the game? It's interesting. It makes you think. Having to play two cards a turn really can hurt you if you don't have anything good. I like that there's high, like you're going higher and you're ascending and you're descending. That kind of adds some options that you don't wouldn't normally have in the game, I guess, like this. Really, there's no other games like this previous to when this released. Besides, the Mind is kind of similar, but not being able to talk at all kind of adds an extra aspect that I didn't really enjoy that much. So the game, you can communicate. You can't tell exact numbers, but I mean, you can still say like, "Don't play on that pile. Please don't play on that pile. Please don't play on that pile. Why are you playing on that pile?" It adds. Yeah, it's cool. I played this with non-gamers. I played this with my parents who are really big into card games, and co-op was like a new aspect for them. They weren't really used to that, and they really enjoyed it too. We actually played it a few times in a row because they ended up liking it so much. Yeah, it's a neat concept, and it really makes you think pretty hard actually about what is possible. And you have to get through all 100 cards to technically win. I mean, you get points depending on how many cards are left and blah blah blah. But really, you want to get rid of all the cards so you win, right? So yeah, it's really neat. It's easy to just take and go and set up and play in 20 minutes or so, and I recommend it. You should check it out at least. Yeah. So that's the game from Pandasaurus. I'm Joe, and you've been watching Down the Vent. Bye.